Welcome back to Combust Astrology. Let's talk about Uranus and Aquarius for Aquarius rising. Wait, what? Uranus and Gemini for Aquarius rising. A little EP. Okay, so you are an Aquarian rising. Sorry, by the way. I know these videos are kind of long gaps in between. I'm more prevalent on TikTok right now, but I still do love this medium form content. Uranus and Aquarius. Uranus and Gemini. Jesus. I am recording this during a Mercury retrograde. Anyway, Uranus and Gemini for you guys is honestly not that bad. I feel as though with the whole Pluto sitting on your rising thing, you really can't you can't focus on Uranus and as much as you think you would. And Pluto being in your 12th in Capricorn was a ride to teach you about who you are. And I feel like for every video about the major outers changing, it's been this whole theme of like, what is going on with your subconscious and the moolah, and now what's going on with who you are being the bright sun that you are, you know? All these things come together to make who you are. But of course, all of these things are a fundamental shifting plate right now because of the fact that we no longer have structure. So for you guys, I feel as though this is a fun time, right? Scorpio season could have really brought out a lot of stuff, right, in this year, as Pluto is squaring a lot of that. But Jupiter could have been giving you a soft little cushion after whatever loss happened in your fourth house, because Pluto probably also took some stuff from their family, maybe mom or dad or something, where there's like a division of that. Maybe a closing, that's the best case scenario. But you have to see it as though Uranus, having moved through your fourth into your fifth, is truly trying to set you free, because you guys have a Sagittarius 11th house, and that's not anything surprising. Having Sag here means money. Honestly, 10th, 11th, and 12th being these axis right here is truly just about money. I've met some real workaholics that are Aquarius risings because of that 12th house. And I just sit and I think to myself, damn, like that childhood trauma really came through. It really left a mark on you guys. And it's understandable, right? The money is basically how you enjoy this life. And I understand how for you guys, it's very much about adaptability. So it's like, what do I got to do to get what it is that I need? And you're very fierce about that. You're very set and locked into what it is that you need. But because the boiling plate is now kicked into high gear with Pluto moving, you know, I'm not gonna lie, for the past 40 years, if you've been alive that long, or if you were born into this like life with these placements, like you don't really just get to be like, yeah, I know what it felt like before this. And I feel like that is probably the biggest thing for you guys that will show itself. For those of you that aren't born long enough to actually experience what life is without Pluto kind of driving your subconscious, you really won't have a firm grasp on how drastic it is that you got to change until Pluto in Aquarius comes and changes all that stuff for you, right? You don't need to see life in this like mundane picture of I have to wake up, I have to work, I got to do all these things, because if I don't, then what am I doing with my life, right? There's a very big status game that you guys can fall prey to, almost like actually the Gemini risings, because they have a Taurus 12th house, right? So it's like you just got a lot, you know, and I get that, but that's why Uranus is amazing, and it's not that bad, because it brings chaos and it brings the unexpected stuff that is going to allow you to see that life is not permanent. Having a 12th house that is cardinal, but having Pluto there is really thinking that life is structured and permanent, but it's not. Just because you're climbing a ladder to something doesn't mean that if you're on the second step versus 100 step, that one or the other is going to be more firm. And that is some of the conceptions that 12th house can build. And I've seen it for a lot of you guys. You're like, why the fuck is this happening? I did my dues. I spent my time, right? Because with Capricorn being father time, you're like, this is what I had to do. I did it. So why am I not getting what I need to get? But that's okay, because that change is, it's necessary. Having Uranus in the fifth, having the mutable signs in its second, 11, and eighth, people make opportunities for you. But your joy, your fun, the ability for you to actually go about life and not try to be perfect will create those opportunities, because you will stumble into places where you can enact this 11th house whimsical Sagittarius that will lead you to the most mystical, magical, unbelievable experiences that you never thought was there. But you have to lean into the chaos, and through that chaos create structure and find a way to bring value to others in it. It's a pretty big task, to be honest, because I could tell that the 12th house Capricorn does not want to mingle and all that bullshit. It's like, listen, I put in my time, pay me. What do you mean you want me to go do all these things? Like, I'm sitting here in the high chair. But for a lot of you, that 12th house isn't even you unless you're that old. Nothing personal. But a lot of you, that 12th house is just the echoes of other people that used to spew what it is that they think you need to do. So it could be like a father, it could be a grandfather, it could be a teacher, it could be, it doesn't have to even just be masculine, you know, like if the household breadwinner or the masculine was your mother, like it could just show up as your mom too. But it's really just whatever was the masculine pressure for you. So that's like, you know, for this energy, with Uranus being something that takes away and it destroys, it's two sides, right? Like Uranus is the Joker. It is the original bolt, the original change, the original thing. So I'm like, Uranus supercharging with Pluto, like, you don't know what these motherfuckers are up to. You don't know what they got planned for you. You don't know if this is gonna make or break you. Maybe it might do both. But at the end of the day, one thing is for certain: you will not be the same person 20 years later. And that's not just like, oh yeah, time changes all and you're going to change. Like, I really mean it. You just cannot be the same person. It would be so hard for you to be the same person through a transit like this. It will grow you, it will stretch you, and it will show you that you've only seen half of life, because half of Uranus is showing the way that things don't have to be in that rigidity that you thought. All right, if I haven't hammered that home enough, that is the biggest thing. And it's not too far off, as you've had Saturn in Pisces kind of go through and show you, like, you know, I don't even want to say it's like an envious thing, but if you weren't really on your grind, if you weren't really doing it, then it already kind of made you question, like, is money fair? Like, how is it that I look at the way that I think my values versus what it is that was bestowed onto me by other people? Because it's sextile that 12th house Pluto, and it's like, you know, I always say Pisces and Capricorn together makes existential depression or delusion that creates such insane poverty and or wealth, because you truly just point your subconscious mind to where it is that you want to think you're going, and all of a sudden you're going there. And for you guys, that is the biggest thing, right? The delusion that money should be yours has shown me a lot of Aquarius people actually achieve. But it usually comes with the trauma, especially if you have Aquarius placements, because they will always square 4th and 10th, and that will create stuff that you got to do, right? So just be mindful of that. Don't let this whole transit uh, make you feel like you made mistakes in the past. I don't look at it that way. You were just given the cards that you were, and you did what you had to do. And now things are different, and you adapt as you always have. And I know it's like, as I always have, but when do I get the chance not to? I don't make these rules. I really wish I did. I wouldn't make things be the way that they are, but I'll tell you for certain that at the end of this transit, the outcome is that you got to experience what you didn't with Pluto in Capricorn, because you'll realize how fickle life is, and the circumstances around you, the reminders of this will push you towards doing that, doing the small things that you will look back and say, oh wow, like, okay, life isn't as black and white as I thought, and I could be gone tomorrow. So why hold on? Why climb this ladder for this thing? Why stay in this environment? Because there's a fear that comes from Capricorn as well, that if you're not consistently moving at 20 miles an hour and you stop, you'll be at zero. But Jupiter is sitting there to remind you that it's not the end all be all. You can take a break, you can detach, you can let it go, and you can move on to something and just come back, if anything. But I feel like that's the biggest thing for you guys. Anytime I do a reading for any of you right now, with the transition, but even before, it was always like, you're not even oblivious to the thing. You know exactly what the problem is, but you're just so afraid, and you just don't want to feel like you're making a bad mistake, the wrong move, and all of that work for nothing. And it's like an echo, it's like a haunting thing, and I'm just like, it doesn't have to be that. But that's it for you guys. I hope you go through this transit and you have so much fun. Take care. This is Liv from Combust Astrology. I'll see you in the next video.